starting an extension, and I'm going to show a few of the products that I like to use. So for acrylic paint, I like to use some of the cheaper craft paint with the black and white especially. And then I like some basic acrylic paint. And I like to use some little bit better acrylic paint. And then I really like to use some of the Dick Blick acrylic paint also. Or that's the Dick Blick. Okay. And I have my palette. And I like the plastic palette best because it seems to not dry the paint out as much. I have a couple of little paint brushes with a real thin, this is a pointy brush and this one's a flat brush. And then I like these because they have little scrapers on the back that I can scrape out errors I've done on these cards. We have also sprayed the card first with matte coating paint. So just a light coat of that will keep the paint sticking a little bit. I know I want to extend the painting up above this border. So, the first thing I like to start with is extending anything that's got plain color. And this is a real dark gray, almost black up here. So I like to have a piece of white paper underneath it so that I can see if it's the right color. I do like to pull the paint towards me though, so I'm going to come over here. Sometimes once it dries, you can tell a little bit better. And there's some texture in there that may be hard to see on the video, but it has some texture and some muted colors throughout there. So I'm going to pull this all through here, and then I will add those other colors in towards the end. There's some browns in there even, which you can't always tell until you get the gray on there, and then now I can tell it's got some brown. So I'm going to add some brown. Do some burnt sienna on my palette. Okay. Side note, if you use too cheap of paint, sometimes the colors aren't very true. And I'm not getting enough detail, so I'm going to switch to my pointed brush here. Do some black, some brown, and a touch of white for the top here. It's got some pinks and purples in there. So we can do pink and purple, or we can do red and get out some blue, which is probably good. Now this is getting into some blue up here, so I don't want to go over here because I'm going to extend the blues and purples over there. See, as it dries, you can see that that's not blending quite like I thought it would, which I can always go back and fix that then. So if you start with cards that are cheaper that you don't care as much about, then it doesn't matter if you mess up. So the first one I did, boy, that did not turn out very well. Okay, I don't know where I'm going here. My palette has so much paint on it, dried paint, that it's hard to find a good spot to work. That is just not a pretty, that is a hard color in there. This is it's nice to go into black at the bottom because it grounds it, anchors the painting a little bit. So I'm gonna blend that into black at the bottom. Okay, so it looks like I'm completely messing that up, but I'm trying to create a palette to do some other, to add in some detail over here, because I'm creating another, do you think that's fungi over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Little saprolings is what they're called in the world.
Saprolings? Because I just want the picture to look extended without, so that the border, you kind of can't tell the difference between the border. You have a plant here. What's this plant, do you think? Are all these all kind of similar?
They're similar.
Okay. So this plant's going up into there. And then it actually turns dark. But this one doesn't have a lot of details to add to the edges, because as it goes to the edge, the painting is all centered with just color on the outside. So that part's easy. The part that isn't easy is that these colors are so beautifully blended, it's hard to match them. Same thing. So the light, I don't think we have the light quite right there. That's all right, because we can do it now. I decided to go back up here and add a little bit of black because there wasn't enough contrast to see the header. So now I have to blend this a little bit more. You can see as I keep moving it around and working it, that eventually it does all end up coming together pretty well. I like that. That's a pretty blue there through. Let's see how that light looks. I'm gonna let that dry and see how that looks through there. Now, I'm not sure. There really isn't a lot of detail on the edges of this card.
No, it's all focused on the light in the center figure.
Yeah, so this, and then this. So we've added edging, we've added, brought that pink there and brought some of these things there. I might add a little bit of detail through there. Now I could add some other things in there to make it more interesting. So like maybe I'll take some purple and add some of these tendrils over here too, if I can get them small enough. So let's just see what we can do. Well, let's see what we think. There's a line where right there, right?
Yeah.
Right there.
Right about there, you can tell where the card ended and the border began.
Okay, so we don't want that on there if we can help it. Right in through here. Right there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's my proofreader of the paint. How's that? Clean it up a little bit, yep. Which is pretty easy to do. If you can keep your hands steady, that is.